We are very focused, and we continue to be very focused on having the federal government do its part and take the lead in addressing what we see as a growing humanitarian crisis. The number of people crossing the border seeking asylum, we expect to only go up. And we need to make sure that there is a national response.
He almost sounds like a Republican now that she's dealing with illegal immigration. Let's welcome in Charlie Kirk for more on this. He's the founder of and president of Turning Point USA. He also has an important new book out. It's called The College Scam: How America's Universities Are Bankrupting and Brainwashing Away the Future of America's Youth. And great to have you with us, Charlie. We'll talk about the book in just a moment, as well as Turning Point's battle with The View. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Muriel Bowser's request first. And, you know, I have to wonder what the National Guard thinks about this. She's asking for their help now, but she treated them so poorly. The entire city of Washington, D.C. did, making them sleep in parking garages and the like. So what's your reaction to Muriel Bowser now calling for help?
That's such a good point. I actually forgot about that. You're right. You treated the National Guard like garbage when the entire city of D.C. was under occupation. My immediate reaction, though, is that every Republican governor now has a precedent to bring in the National Guard to secure the southern border, especially in Arizona and in Texas. You know, there was this big controversy recently. Who can actually secure the southern border if the federal government doesn't want to do it? Why don't the governors just activate the National Guard? Well, now we have precedent to do that. And so, look, here's the thing, is that everyone on the Democrat Party is pro-open borders until all of a sudden, you know, in their view,
right,
there is a third world Honduran in Georgetown, and then their inner kind of white liberal racism starts to shine through.
It always does, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Mayor Bowser, she's getting her marching orders from K Street and lobbyists that are saying, hey, I can't walk to lunch anymore without having to, you know, see some sort of, you know, third world infusion. And look, I mean, I have sympathy for people that are confused in the country. They shouldn't be here. They illegally entered, and I think they should be properly returned back home. But, you know, this is just another example of how liberals are willing to use the force of government to satisfy their own interests when it comes home. But if Greg Abbott right now activated the National Guard, I think we know how the media would react.
Well, you know, Charlie, and the thing, too, is Bowser's trying to say that there are about 4,000 immigrants, and some are saying, depending on what we counted on those buses, that may not even be an accurate number. But we did get some reaction outside the Beltway. You know, we heard Florida Governor Ron DeSantis reacting to Bowser's request for federal help. Let's take a listen to this clip.
You know, you see the mayor of New York City and Washington, D.C. mayor now, because Texas started busing to those cities. And, you know, they're very supportive of an open border until it affects them. And now they're like, oh, man, we just can't accommodate. It's going to hurt our health care and education. Yeah, exactly. That's why people don't want open border, because they actually want to be able to put their own citizens first.
And Texas Governor Greg Abbott also released this statement saying if the mayor wants a solution to this crisis, she should call on President Biden to take immediate action to secure the border, something he has failed to do. Charlie, obviously, there's a lot of hypocrisy here, but they really say it with a straight face. It's hard to kind of watch that and feel any type of, you know, anything for these cities when we've seen what the southern border has been, you know, dealing with.
Yeah, and I would just say to Governor Abbott, please take a leadership role. Stop blaming Joe Biden. I mean, now you have a precedent. You have a mayor, a Democrat mayor, that says you can use the National Guard to solve an immigration crisis. Well, then maybe use the Texas Rangers. Use whatever necessary you have at your disposal to protect the people of Texas. And by the way, they're complaining about 4,000 or 5,000 migrants or illegals. There's about 6,000 to 7,000, some estimates show, a day crossing the southern border. At the most conservative estimates, it's 4,000 to 4,500, depending on the day. And here in Arizona, in Yuma, I've just been right down to the border, it's 1,500 a day that are coming to the southern border. And so if Bowser thinks that's an emergency, she should come to Phoenix, see what it's doing to our infrastructure, see what it's doing to our schools. It's a tragedy, and we have to stop it.
Charlie, let's move on and talk about suing The View and this ongoing story now. The View's attack on Turning Point and the subsequent apology, if you want to call it that, after you guys threatened to sue. Now, earlier this week, in case folks had forgotten, Whoopi Goldberg and the crew said Turning Point was complicit with a group of neo-Nazis that were outside the conference in Tampa. Here is Whoopi's apology yesterday.
In Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me, and it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did. So, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's interesting how she made it all about herself. Charlie, apology accepted?
Yeah, I'm not even the one that's in a position to accept the apology because it's our high school kids she smeared. So those are the people you should ask. Look, I appreciate the gesture, even though it kind of felt like a hostage situation of the legal department saying, you have to read this, Whoopi, or else you might be sued. And we don't want a Nicholas Sandman 2.0 situation. And is it really an apology if it takes 4 days of, iterations? And by the way, that's not the first correction they had to issue. So look, I appreciate the gesture. I'm trying to be magnanimous, but I did a whole show on this yesterday. I have a very difficult time wanting to go above and beyond to say, you know what, Whoopi, everything's fine. When you summarize, oh, my bad, I called you neo-Nazis. It's the worst thing you could call somebody in modern American political discourse.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that.
Clearly they were outside, a bunch of bad actors. It was pretty obvious if you watched the tape that these people were not invited. They were there to cause some controversy, and they did. But moving on, let's talk about your book. I have a 17-year-old daughter, so I'm very interested in this topic. The book is called The College Scam. Tell us about, what you really want parents to impart from this, young kids who are looking at your career and sort of their path and what the options are today, 2022, Charlie.
Yeah, look, everyone's different. Everyone's going to have a different path. What I do in this book, though, I wrote it persuasively. So I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with the premise. And so I thought to myself, where are arguments best presented in a persuasive format where someone has to decide? The courtroom. And so I wrote this as if I was a prosecutor and I have the facts and you are the jury. And so I just ask people to read the book. We go through 10-count indictment as I am a prosecutor in front of you, the jury. And I make the argument that college is a scam. Now, am I saying that every single child should not go to college? No. Am I saying a vast majority of kids should not go to college? Yes. And I prove it. For example, 40% of people that enroll in college drop out. That alone should be a fire alarm for our entire country. Why are 40% of people dropping out from college? Maybe because we have way too many people going to college in the first place. And then another 41%, if you're able to graduate and if you're able to get a job, you get a job that does not require a college degree. And then on top of that, an even greater number of people, if they get a job and if they graduate, get a job in a field of which they did not study so that what they studied does not actually apply. I'm not even touching on the wokeism or the indoctrination or the nihilism, not to mention the rising tuition and the student loan costs. So I just tell parents to be prudent. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what not to do in this book, but I am intentionally and factually and yes, provocatively putting the entire industry on trial. And at the end of the book, you're like, you know what? I still think college is the best thing for my child. Great.
Yeah.
But
there
it's filled with facts. It is 35 pages of footnotes at the end of the book.
Yeah, in addition to, the college admissions scandal where it was pay to play kind of deal to, just that stuff you talked about. As we re-examine education in this country, that's why I say this is such an important book. Congrats on the book, Charlie. Keep fighting the good fight against the ladies at The View. And I'd love to have you back. Talk to you soon.
God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. I want to tell you about the Patriot Gold Group. But first, let me tell you that the S&P has already lost $8.2 trillion in 2022. Did you know that? Peak inflation is not even hit despite the Fed rate hikes on groceries, on gas. You know it as well as I do. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs are warning of another 20% drop. Inflation is winning in a knockout right now. The Fed is going to raise rates again at the end of July. Meanwhile, Goldman, Wells Fargo, and Bloomberg are all forecasting gold to surpass all-time highs. If you want to invest in gold, call 888-936-2373 now. Call the Patriot Gold Group today and ask about their no-fee-for-life IRA. Sounds like a good deal, don't it? Here's the number, 888-936-2373. 888-936-2373 for the Patriot Gold Group.